Here we go. And I'll just start by saying a very warm welcome to your coffee yoga practice or whatever's in your cup, right? We've talked about how that was a symbolic thing. And we're having a nice little gathering this morning, a little coffee chat, and talking about communication and also rituals. So one thing I'll share with you is that the other day, because we talk about rituals in this class and how we thread that into our lifestyle and how it's important. The other day, our alarms didn't go off, and so my whole family started their day, I guess late, right? A little behind whatever. It wasn't, nobody freaked out. We just went up, looked at the time. Oh, okay. So we just shifted into our day starts now and we carry on, and, daughter missed the bus, so take her to school, all that. But what I did miss was my morning rituals. And so my meditation and, my hydration routine, all the things that I do in the morning. And that sent me on a bit of the rest of the day it was fine, but not quite right. Has anyone had that happen to them where you skip a step and then later in the day, it seems like the flow is a little off, right? And then you're wondering why. And sometimes that dialogue that we're talking about, that communication with yourself, starts to talk like, why is this happening to me? When you become sort of victim, but it's not like that at all. The world is going on around you, and you do set yourself up. And that's why I talk about the importance of rituals. Our bodies and the way we are sort of designed, right? We actually really like routine, and so in the way of a ritual, a routine, a habit, right? So I just noticed, nice one. I just noticed further in the day that the ripple effect of 4 less rituals or whatever that I missed that morning was that I was feeling a little off balance. So that's where I actually felt the effect of not having the ritual. Do you know what I mean? So whatever that might be, has that happened to anyone? Does anyone want to share something about that? Yeah, we've got Ruby coming in.
Since I haven't really been working and all the rest of it, I had a really difficult time having structure. And that's one of my actual assignments, is to find a way to put structure back into my life with a schedule and things like that. And even though I haven't done all the homework, just acknowledging that there should be a schedule has been very helpful.
Good work.
And I'm recognizing things like hydrating and taking all of my brain medicines and whatever else that I'm taking, vitamins and whatever else, needs to happen in a ritualistic sense. And the way that other people use that time for meditating is kind of probably going to have to be my time to try to take my nerve meds and all the rest of it. I hate taking vitamin supplements, and now I have to take about 15 of them. So it's a while to get all them pills down, and it needs to be a ritual. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
100%,
Yeah.
100%.
Way to get off the pain. So.
Yeah, I have the same. So I take probably 10 things, right? And I can't just put them in my mouth and swallow them down. So I have it takes me about an hour, right? I'm like, and I do it, and I do everything in the exact same order. And I don't like it,
See, and I
think the brain likes it. Do you know what I mean? I think the brain likes it too, because there's an order. It's systematic. It's on purpose, right? It's done with care, with attention, your attention. If, there's no wonder when you're like all sped up, or your brain is doing 17 things at once, that we can forget things, or that we're not doing it so smoothly because we're not having that focused attention. And that's where, partly the practice of yoga comes in, right? Like the the one pointed focus, all the rest. There's, a bunch of stages. I'm going to just segue into a little story time. Well, not a story, but this kind of what we're talking about touches on so in the book, The Four Agreements, and I did a little reading before, it touches on the fourth agreement a little bit, and that is to always do our best, right? So again, if we're not paying attention, or we're flailing a little bit, or we're not giving it our full care, right? Doing our best, it's going to be that, not our best, right? And you might notice some, a ripple effect of that. So I'm just going to do a little reading for us. If you want, you can close your eyes to listen. It doesn't really matter. You can lay back or sit up. So when you do your best, you learn to accept yourself. So there's another good one right there. But you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means you practice. Look honestly at the results and keep practicing. This increases your awareness. Doing your best really doesn't feel like work because you enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. So that's getting back to what we were just talking about. If you're actually enjoying it and giving it care, then it doesn't feel like a big deal. Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. Take the risk of expressing who you are and what you are. Expressing what you are is taking action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is the action. Without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation and no results. And he goes on to use Forrest Gump as a good example because he had all these great ideas. And he was just happy because it didn't matter what he did. And he lived this rich life because there was no drama around it, right? Doing your best is a great habit to have. Doing my best has become a ritual in my life because I made the choice to make it a ritual. It's a belief like any other belief that I choose. I make everything a ritual and I always do my best. So that's another perspective to have. If everything you do is done with intention, it becomes this like growth in awareness, and then also it's enjoyable. And I think that's, what a great guide to thread that idea into even having a ritual practice. So I just wanted to share that with you this morning. And then I wanted to start laying down, but let's even, just because we're here, gather our group energy with just a few breaths together. So however it is that you're sitting, if you like, close down the eyes and just take the hands face down on the lap so that that's a grounding type of energy. And as you close your eyes and take that one sense out, you can then look inward a little. This practice in itself is a rich one, to be able to look inside, to be able to pause for a moment, to open your eyes to what's inside rather than out. Start to take some deeper breaths, gaining that calm quality, settling the nervous system. Inhaling and exhaling. And it's my experience within this practice, even just a few moments every day of stillness, of tuning in, of deep, smooth breathing, that it easily allows us to align with the deeper layers of ourself. And when we talk about our true self or our core or our depth, what we're aligning with is love. That is the common thread that is within each of us. And with practice, it only takes a few moments to tune into that. So see if you can, maybe it helps you to turn your internal gaze even towards the heart or the space of the heart. Take a deep breath in and fill up the space of your chest, around your heart, the upper portion of the lungs, the sides, the back body. And slowly exhale it all out. And take 2 more breaths like that, just finding your own rhythm of smooth and fluid breath that you'll take with you through the portion of our movement practice. See if you can align with that true nature, the underlying you, so that you can fine tune your listening out of the head and into the core of your being. Now you can keep your eyes closed, or if you need to open them for a moment, just to transition onto our backs. We're gonna lay it back. I'm gonna have my cup handy. Come down to fully recline. And begin by taking a nice full body stretch. So reach your arms over your head. Point your toes away, settle the head to the earth. Reach, reach, reach. Take a deep inhale. Pause and hold it in your body. Hold it at the top. And then sigh up the mouth, exhale. And let your body drop. Starting to feel energetically into your body a little. And then take your arms down by your sides and bend your knees. And then just roll your head from side to side. So let there be some freedom in the neck. Your pelvis is neutral, plugged into your feet, and just a rolling on the back of the head. Let the collarbones drop open. Continue with your smooth breath. And then you can center the head and then come to your toes. So like you've got pointed feet, and walk your feet together, your knees together. And then just roll the knees from side to side. So it doesn't have to come all the way to the floor. You're just doing a gentle rock on the sacrum. And if you want, you can keep the head moving in opposition to the knees if that felt good. We'll move a little slowly at first with intention. We're going to get into a little bit of balance today also. So now set your feet hip distance apart, knees are still bent. Plug into your feet and you're going to lift your hips as you take your left arm up and over your head. You can turn your head to the right, so just being mindful of the neck. So you're up at the top, and then you're going to roll it back down. Take the left arm down, and then go the other way. Once the hips land, settle a moment. Plug back into your feet equally. And as you lift the hips, reach the opposite arm up, right arm up, and you can roll the head to the left. Being mindful of the neck. Come to center, release, and then this time we'll take both arms up, lift the hips, little rolling bridge. At the top, pause. Plug into all of your toes, your entire foot. Equal pressure, lifting your hip points up, belly lifts, smooth breath. And then really slowly with control of your core, lower your vertebrae one at a time, rolling it out onto the floor. A little elongation of the spine. Really nice. Now reach down for your knees and pull your knees into your chest. And then take the knees open wide and circle them around away from you and back in. So you're just drawing circles with the hip, getting into the hip joint. Circling around, just noticing where that's fluid for you. And then take your circle in the other direction. In your movements, can you be so mindful that this is like a ritual or a prayer practice with your body? With the breath on board, then you invite in on a more soulful level the ritual of your practice. Come back into center. Cross at the ankles and just grab behind your knees and then pull your head towards your knees. Just pull it in. Stretching through the low back. And then as you feel ready, you can either start to swing the legs and roll on the spine, or if that doesn't work for you, just roll off to the side. And we're going to come up to a cross-legged position. So drop the knees open. And then inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, we're going to fold forward. Oh, I did forget to mention what we need for this class. Sorry, guys. A strap and a block if you have it, or a belt and a book, or something like that. For now, just stay here with elongated spine, folding over, getting long through the low back. Walk your hands over to the right. So any amount, you could be up higher, right? Reaching forward and over to the right, getting into that left side body, left waist, lower back. And then walk over to the left. Bow your head. Keep breathing. Come back to center. Sit up. We're going to lean back. Take your hands behind you. Uncross your feet. And then pick up your legs. So your shins run parallel to the floor. So a little bit of intention in the core. Squeeze the knees together. Squeeze through and up the pelvic floor. Feel free to stay right here, or if you want to take a variation of boat, you can reach the arms forward. So you're on the backs of the sit bones and the heart is lifted. So notice if you're leaning way back into here, lift up through the spine. It could mean that your feet are on the floor or your hands are on the floor, whatever variation, and put a little smile on your face. Allow a little bit of shaking to happen. It's all good. Strengthening from our center. One more breath, lift the heart, even lift the gaze, that might help with the corners of your mouth. And then cross opposite ankle in front and drop the feet. Drop the knees open, should feel good. Reach your arms up, inhale, and then fold over through the center one more time. Bow your head, let the belly just be soft here. Lengthen out of the low back. Chin is tucked. Releasing down. So this time, similar but different. We're just going to sweep. Leave the left hand forward. Sweep the right hand next to your knee, and then just roll your head or your nose towards your knee. So a little twist and folding over. Little turn of the head. Take a big breath. You'll feel that a little bit differently in the left back body. Maybe all the way up to the neck. And then come back around, reach both arms forward, sweep the left hand beside you or beside the knee, and draw your knee or your nose towards your knee. Bow in. Completely drop the head. Doesn't matter how high you are. Keep the breath full and long into that back portion of the body. back to center. Lift up. One more time, take the hands behind. This time, step on your feet, hip distance apart. Push into your feet and lift your hips. Reverse tabletop, getting a little opening through the wrists, the fingers. If the neck is okay, you can let the head fall back. And take 2 more breaths here. Using the back side of your body again, strengthening through the glutes. Lift your hip points high. Really nice. And then slowly lower. This time just cross the feet in order to come over and through. Plant your hands and step back to downward facing dog. So get right upside down. And then pedal out the feet. Just take a little wander. You can sway the hips from side to side. Let the head hang heavy. And see the world from upside down. You can look between the legs behind you. And from your downward dog, we're going to take like a sassy little walk forward. You're going to cross the feet in front, cross in front as you walk up towards the top of your mat. You could be on your fingertips, or maybe it's a further reach. You could come to the block if you need to. And then once your right foot is crossed in front, take the left foot and step it way back towards the right corner of your mat. So you're going a little wider in your feet, in your stance. Bend into the front knee. From that place, gather in the core, push into your feet and rise up. See if you can find a balanced place here. So you're bent into the front knee, adjust wider if you need to, reach your arms up, clasp the left wrist, and then reach up and over. Coming into a nice side bend from that back heel all the way through the left line. And feel free to just look to the floor under the armpit. A gentle lift up through the arm and over. One more inhale. As you exhale, bend over. Find the floor once more. And step back to your downward facing dog. Plant the palms. Plug both feet into the floor, both hands equally. Lift up high on the toes. Give a little bend to the knees and tilt your pelvis up. Feel a little more extension in the lower back. And then as you exhale, maybe you start to send the heels towards the floor. Maybe you start to straighten the legs. Big breath here. And we'll come right into the other side. So now lead with the opposite foot. So it's a bit of brain work too. If you stepped with the right foot first last time, step with the left and crisscross the feet all the way up to the top. And when the left foot lands in front, you're going to keep that this time. Step your right foot a little further back, all the way. You could even be off of your yoga mat. Bend into the left knee. Inhale, rise up. Well, finding one side way easier than the other. Clasp the right wrist. Keep a bend in that front knee and even lean the hips over to the right as the hands come over to the left. If you can, extend that back leg, press back into the heel. Go as wide with the stance as you need to for balance, for sensation. Take a big breath. Feel free to round as you reach the arms forward and back down towards the floor. Step it back. Downward facing dog. Let's just lower the knees to the floor. We'll come forward like modified plank and then back towards child's pose. So just taking a little movement here, forward and back. Gently warming up through the wrists and the shoulders, getting a nice extension through the spine, opening through the hips. For me, I'm feeling a deep opening between the ribs. And we'll access that in a moment. One more time, forward and back. So come forward and then lower down to your belly. From this place, take your fingertips out wide on either side of your mat and your elbows flare open. And then inhale and lift up to whatever degree, doesn't have to be high. And from there, we're just gonna do a little turn from side to side. So I'm looking over my right shoulder, then over the left. You pick up and turn the rib cage side to side, making that the movement fluid, keeping that awareness in the breath. Come back to center, lift up to whatever degree is comfortable for you, and then roll the spine back down to your belly. Place the hands under the shoulders, come back up to hands and knees, and do 3 rounds of cat-cow. So we're gonna extend through the spine, drop the belly, lift heart and sit bones, and then exhale, tuck the pelvis under, chin to chest, lift the back of the heart to the ceiling. 2 more like that. Inhale towards your extension or back bend, only go as far as what serves you, and then exhale, round, get into the space of the back body, full tuck of the hips. Once more. Come back to center. Take your left foot up towards the ceiling. So your left knee is bent. Take it behind you. You're finding a nice stability through the core, through the back line of the leg. And you can stay here and just hold this position. If you want to go for a little balance, you can reach with the right hand back to catch the foot, plug down into the left hand. Even the elbow could bend if you needed to. And then maybe add a little kick of the foot into the hand, peeling open through the heart. The right shoulder draws back as the foot kicks up towards the ceiling, any amount. Take one more breath. Nice, exhale, release, and switch your sides. Right leg back, knee is bent, and remember, you can just stay here and work on stability of the pelvis and the core, belly drawing up towards the spine to stay long and strong in your back and that posterior chain of the leg. Otherwise, if you're going for balance, right hand stays there, reach back with the left hand. Take a breath and then kick open any amount. One more breath. Good, release. Keep the knees together now and draw back into your child's pose like this. Reach the arms forward or make a pillow with the hands. Drop the head to the floor and just breathe spaciousness into the low back. 2 more breaths like that. Slowly rise up. If you feel too, you can take a little sip. We're going to tuck the toes under, so getting open into the feet. Sit back, interlace the hands behind the back, peel the heart open. Extend the arms if that's natural, open through the heart. And we're going to extend into a forward fold this way. So if coming up off the knees and coming down isn't fluid for you, feel free to take the hands down, find your feet first, then take the clasp. Or join me here. So fists draw towards the ceiling, feet hip distance, and a little bend into the knees. We're not overdoing it. Peel the heart open as the fists come up and over, and let the head hang heavy. 2 more breaths. Looking for some mobility within the shoulders. Squeeze at the back of the heart, nice circulation to the upper back. Good, release the clasp of the hands. Slowly roll yourself up to stand. Take your time. Let everything settle into your feet. Then inhale, reach your arms up, take the palms together, look up, plug down into your feet, feel the legs nice and strong, lift the belly, lift the heart, look to your hands and stay an extra breath. So it's working on strengthening, opening the front side of the body. Good, now fluidly take the hands, interlace behind opposite fingers, reach open through the heart, exhale once more, forward fold. Release your hands and either walk your hands forward or step back to down dog, depends where you find yourself on your mat. Then take your left leg and reach it up high, so you're doing a down dog split. As you exhale, see if you can step the foot between the hands. If it doesn't make it all the way, you can pick up the foot and help it out. Lower through the knee. And inhale, rise up. So we're going to come, if you need to cushion the right knee, we're going to come upright rather than dropping the hips forward and taking it. Often we take it into the lower back. We're going to come out of that a little and instead drop the tailbone down. Make that little pelvic tilt and then come a little bit forward and feel it a little more into maybe the front of the thigh. Pull your belly, your low belly in and up slightly and just sit up tall in this variation here. Take a breath. Now from that place, we'll come a little more forward. So now coming towards the top of the kneecap, bring the hands to the inside of your front foot. And here's where you can feel free to take a block if you'd like a little height. You can heel toe the left foot out a little wider, give yourself a little space. And then just be sure you're on above the kneecap if you can be, not directly on the knee. Untuck the back toes. Going for a little more depth in lizard lunge now. You could stay high or feel free to come low, maybe elbows to the block or onto the floor, depending where you're at this morning. Going for a little bit of depth. Keep breathing. Feel free to close the eyes again if that helped you in the beginning, to find presence, to stay with sensation in the body. Take 3 more big breaths, opening that front line of the leg. Really nice, start to climb yourself back up. Take your prop out of the way, and then just match your knees. You're just gonna pull back the hips a little. Take the knees to match, so you're in a modified plank pose, lower down to your belly. Bend both of your knees and give them a little roll side to side. Bring them through center, and if it feels okay from this point, lift through cobra with the knees bent. If not, if that doesn't work for you, take the legs long. Whatever degree, exploring the body and then rolling it back out. Plug into your hands, tuck the toes under, come through the knees and back into your downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high. Try to move with grace. As you exhale, step it through. Sometimes for me, I have to come to my fingertips to get that clearance. Good, lower the left knee and come upright. This might be another appropriate place to take a step if it's there. So trying not to jar forward here in the pelvis. We're actually more upright in this position and a little tuck under of the tail. So posterior tilt of the pelvis rather than anterior. So tuck that under a little and you'll get more sensation through that left thigh. into the front of the hip. So we're accessing it in a couple of different ways. One more big breath. And then we'll come down a little deeper into lizard lunge. So you'll shift yourself forward, bring the hands to the inside of the right foot, and you can heel toe that out a little. Maybe patting the knee if you need to. I tend to lift it up and take it back a ways so I know I'm on top above the kneecap. You can untuck the toes and either stay here or on your block, could be a little higher, or lower down to the elbows, either on the block or on the floor. And here's where, again, just allow the depth to unravel. Can you continue to breathe with grace? So rather than clasping or holding on or enduring, see if you can soften somewhere a little. What are your tendencies? Where do you tend to grip? Your jaw or your neck or the belly? Let go a little. One more breath. Come on up. We're going to start to get into a little bit of balance. So this time match the knees just like we did before. Plug into your hands, spread your fingers wide, tuck the toes under, lift back up to downward dog, and then just take a step in a little. So your down dog is a little more narrow, so feel free to have the knees well bent. Head is released, dropping between the arms. And from this place, we're going to take the right arm across and reach for the back of the left leg. So it could be behind the knee, the ankle, or even the heel. And you're going to spin the ribs. So you're looking under the left armpit and turn the ribs. You should feel a nice opening there behind the shoulder blade. Big breath. I'm going to offer a little play time. You can stay right here, or if you feel like you can play with this a little, shift the weight into the left foot and maybe float the right leg. And maybe not, it's all good. Either way, just having some play time. If you lifted it, you lower it back down. You release your hand and take the other side. So the left arm reaches over wherever you get to. And this first part is really a really nice rotation for the ribs, and especially those lower ribs that tend to get stuck. The rhomboids, the muscles behind the shoulder blade. So breathe deep into that. Strong foundation, stay here, or maybe play with coming to the little toe, onto the toe of your left foot, or maybe you float it. Focus and concentration, in tune with fluid breath. Brings a mindfulness, a stillness, and a grace to what you're doing. If you lifted the leg, you can replace it. Nice. Release your arm. Now come forward to plank so you can walk a little wider if you need with the feet. Plank pose. Lower your knees. Lower to your belly. Take your hands and clasp them behind the back. So a little break for the hands. We're going to do another balance there. Point the toes away. Feel the shoulders off and then lift the chest. Shavasana. Stay for a few breaths here. Squeezing the shoulder blades together. Keep the back of the neck long. You can just look to the floor and plug into the tops of your feet so much that your kneecaps lift off the floor. Pubic bone draws down so the low back stays long and strong. One more breath, sternum forward. Really nice, slowly release. Plant the hands underneath the shoulders, come back up through hands and knees, walk your hands back and come right back over into a squat, into Malasana. So if you can, otherwise you can stand up, adjust. If you have to be higher for Malasana, the elbows can be on the thighs, or you could take a block under your seat. Otherwise, at least hip distance or wider in your feet. Maybe the toes turn out. A little move in if that feels good. And then we're going to open up through the wrists a little. So if you can't reach the floor comfortably like that, you could use a block or something in front of you, and you're going to take the backs of the hands to the floor or the block and press them to whatever degree. Maybe your arms straighten, maybe the elbows stay bent. Spread the fingers wide and see if you can open up through the backs of the wrists, carpal tunnel. You have a lovely opening in the back here and into the hips. One more breath. Gonna come on back into the feet, interlace the hands once more, and then just roll the wrists out a little bit here. Let's get strong in the legs for a moment, and then just see if you can push into your feet from this place and come up to stand. Parallel the feet if they were turned out. And then we're just gonna continue with the wrists. Take the backs of the hands together, roll the fingers towards you in a circular pattern and out. And then backs of the hands, a couple more times like that. So getting a little blood flow into the wrists. As the next one, we'll have one more balance on one hand. So just taking care of wherever you are in your shoulders. Know there's modifications. I'll walk you through. Release the hands by your side. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Take a big breath. Circle and reach. Exhale, gently fold over your legs. Forward fold. Take your halfway lift. Lengthen up. Hands can come to your shins. Nice flat back. And then plant the palms and step back to plank pose. So know that you could be high or low in your plank. And for this whole series, this whole variation, plug into the left hand. You're going to roll the heels to the left and come into side plank, Vashisthasana. Lots of variations here. So know that the bottom knee could be down to the floor. That could support you. Fingers are spreading wide and you're lifting up. Another variation is the top leg can come to the floor in front of you, or I'm going to today try taking it into tree. So I'm going to reach down, take it to my inner thigh, all an option. Or reach and open. Lift it up. Sides of the waist long and strong. Plug into hand and foot. One more breath. Really nice. Release the leg. Come back towards plank. And now we're going to drop to the right forearm. Drop it down. Roll to the right. And we're just going to step the right foot back behind us, like a variation of wild thing. Pick up the left arm, reach up and over. The right leg is straight, plug into the feet, the foot and the forearm. Reach up and over any amount. You can roll out the wrist that you were just on. Really nice. Come on back. Forearm plank in between. Lower to your belly. Inhale, Sphinx pose. Rest the hips, pull the heart forward. Take a couple breaths. If the neck needs to, it can roll out instead of looking forward. Good, lower down. We'll do that little fun bit on the other side. Hands come under the shoulders. Tuck the toes. Press yourself up either high plank or low. The knees can be to the floor. And we'll go in the other direction. So you're going to roll to the right side of your feet. You're plugged into the right hand. Side plank here, Vashisthasana. So feet can be stacked, they can be staggered. Remember all of your modifications as an option. And I'm gonna come into the variation with tree pose. So I'm just gonna reach down for my foot, place it to the inner thigh. Don't feel like you have to do that. It's in your practice, go for it. Plug into your right foot, right hand, lift the hips. You might even use your gaze and look to the ceiling, a little extra balance. One more breath. Really nice. Release it out. Come on down through plank. And now you're dropping to the left forearm. Take it this way this time. And then stepping right foot behind. Reach the right arm up and over. So you're opening up the hips. You're pushing into your feet, lifting the pelvis. lifting the heart. Shoulder blades come together on the back as you reach up and over to whatever degree. Feel like you can express yourself a little here. Open heart. Nice big breath. Good work. You're going to come back around to forearm plank. Drop both of your forearms here. Hold for a breath. Pull your heart forward. It's a tiny bit more core. Nice. And then lower your knees, lower to your belly. Good. Lower down. Drop your forehead for a moment to the floor. We're going to bend the knees again. And then have an option. You can either stay here and roll that out, or you can come into bow pose. If you can, you're going to reach for both of your feet. As you inhale, lift everything up off the floor. Call this our last back bend of our practice. Heart forward, maybe the knees lift too. Shoulders peel open, big breath. Really nice, release the feet. Take the hands back under. One more time, child's pose of your choice. So your knees could be wide or together. Any variation you'd like with the hands. Drop the forehead, take 3 breaths, regulate the breath once more. As you're ready, release, lift up into downward dog just for a beat. You're going to take your left leg, reach it up so that you can step through. And we're going to turn to the side. So the long side of the mat, take your hands to your hips and rise up. Let's find the feet once more. Give the wrists a little break. Feel free to shake out the wrists if that was a lot for you. Plug down into your feet, lift the arches. Feet run parallel and strengthen the front of the thighs so your kneecaps are lifted and they may even be a little bit bent. Take your hands to your low back. So lovingly just place your hands to your low back and then just lift your chin. Take a breath, you're just extending. As you exhale, take that extension, that length, and fold it forward. Just feeling the pelvis roll over the hips. And then as you're ready, you can release the hands to the floor. Wide-legged forward fold. Take a halfway lift once more. Just find that breath, leaning a little bit forward into the toes so you're not dumping back into the heels. And then exhale, fold over your legs. Let the head and neck go. Feel free to walk the hands between your feet or hold your feet, whatever feels most natural for you. Take a few breaths here. Let blood flow up to your brain. Opening of the backs of the legs. And then try this variation, walking the hands forward like you would for downward dog. Just take it a little longer. Walk the fingertips forward. Pull length into the torso as your pelvis tilts up towards the ceiling. So be mindful, you could have a bend in your knees. Otherwise, you're nice and long. Couple more breaths here. Back of the neck is long. Just a widening, a deep opening. Slowly take your time. Walk your hands back in and then heel toe your feet towards one another to hip distance and then lower down once more to Malasana, to your yogic squat. Hands can be here at the heart. Remember, you could be on a block, you could be well supported there. Take a moment, close the eyes, let yourself settle here. A great posture, great practice to alleviate some of the strain in the low back and hips from sitting in a chair. See if you can lengthen the spine and the crown of the head upward, working on elongating the muscles that run along the spine that hold you up for good posture. breath like that. Good. We'll slowly release our hands. Take them behind you so you can catch yourself. If you've got a prop, take it out and have a seat. Take the feet in front of you. Let's keep this widening of the knees going for a moment. Hold the ankles, just pull them in towards your groin, and then add a little movement, like little butterfly wings. Let the hips release up and down, the knees up and down. Mm-hmm. And then you can hold the feet if you like, or the ankles. Pull the heart up a little ways so you can lengthen first, and then as you exhale, see if you can fold over any amount. So bowing over the feet. If you're uber limber in this way, maybe you kiss your feet. Thank them for carrying you around all the time. Bow into yourself for a moment, no matter where you get to in this bowing or this forward folding. Surrender a little bit. Soft belly. Let the knees drop open with gravity. And then slowly come back up. Take your hands behind you, your feet in front of you. You're going to roll that out with windshield wipers now. So just wide feet, rolling the knees from side to side, over the sides of the feet. Should feel nice to release all of that synovial fluid, get that running through the hip joint once more. We're going to work our way back onto our backs. See that you can have a strap or a belt handy. And it is helpful to, before you go, let's thread it, let's actually belt it before we go. I didn't do this in advance either, so take your time and loop it through. If you don't have one, I can give you an alternative when we get there. This could be your belt or your house coat belt or a scarf. But if you can, have that in a loop, a big loop like that. Have that handy. Swing your legs forward. And then carefully we'll roll ourselves down. If you wanted to do that by means of boat, feel free. If you want a little extra core work, feel free. Roll yourself down safely. And then once you land, let's bend the knees one more time like we did in the beginning. But we're going to lift the hips like we did for bridge. Keep the hands on the floor pressing, or you could interlace them underneath the body, whatever feels more stable. We're going to take a one-legged version of this. So just heel toe your left heel towards the center a little more, so you're nice and stable, and see if you can extend your right leg out. You may feel a little shaking going on. See if the right hip could be level to the left. Good, and then lower. Right foot towards center, extend the left leg. So really important to strengthen your glutes. Sometimes it has a big factor to do with back issues or hip issues. Good, slowly lower, press into both feet, lift your hips up, high, open up. Feel the shoulders under the body. Nice work. Release your hands if they're clasped and slowly roll the spine back down. All right, so now time for the strap. This is a nice, easeful, kind of juicy little opener. If you've got a buckle on your strap like I do, just make sure it's on the side. You're going to loop the right foot through a strap. And then use as much or as little as you need. So if you need to adjust it longer or shorter, you have that there and accessible. The other end of the loop, you're going to lift the head and take it behind the head. So it's going to rest at the occipital ridge, like the base of the skull. So you should be able to take it to a place where you can let go. Now, if your strap doesn't loop, that's okay. You're just going to skip this head and neck part, and you'll hold the strap in your hands and work a nice hamstring opener. This is just bringing two things together. So again, if you need more space, if you find you're all crouched in and the knee is bent, lengthen your strap if you can. Or if you're like, oh, I could use a little more opening, you're going to shorten the strap. So if you're with me on this one, drop the hands. And then either one that you're in, you could extend the left leg long. So you have this lovely place to actually rest the weight of the head, a nice opening through the back of the neck, perhaps a little bit of traction, and then a nice opening through the back of the leg. You could stay in stillness, or you could add a little movement to this one just by rolling open to the right. So your leg comes open to the right, your head rolls to the right, and comes back in. You may even roll a little to the left, so across the body, a little IT band opening. You probably won't go as far on that side. And if you're doing that movement, try it a couple of times. Otherwise, you're hanging, you could be resting your brain, some of your thoughts. Keep yourself breathing fluidly. Nice, come back through center. Take one more breath here. And then you can switch your legs. So if you may not even need to hold the strap. If that's stable there, you just thread your left foot through, or you might find this leg is different and you might need a little more length and adjust. Drop your right foot to the floor. Start with your knee bent. And then if it feels good and right to you, you can elongate the right leg. That'll increase the openness, the stretch of the leg. Remember not to hold the head up. You're dropping it like it's in a hammock. So the leg holds the head holds the leg. And if that movement felt good, you could try that on this side, opening up to the left, turning the head, keeping the shoulders on the floor. And then maybe slowly coming across the body to the right, to whatever degree. And that's something you can do if it's not around your head. If you're just holding your strap in your hand, you could do this movement by holding the strap in the left hand. Just a couple more, side to side, if that movement feels nice. Exploring range of motion, getting to know the body with love and care. Back up to center. Take another big inhale. Feel free to sigh out the mouth. Also a great little inversion for the legs. And then you can slowly let that out. Reach for your strap. You can take it off of your foot. Take it off of your head. Take the legs long, and then before we come into our rest, interlace the hands behind the head. I've been doing this one lots lately to set up for Shavasana. And I'm just giving a little traction once more to the neck. That feels good to me. And then I'm drawing my chin to my chest. And it also feels good sometimes to roll it from side to side. You get a nice opening in the upper back, down through the traps. A little depth of stretch, one more before taking it to center and lowering it down. As you drop the head, drop the brain and any excess thought as well. Let the hands just come down, palms face open in order to receive new energy. Let the feet flop open and close down the eyes. We'll see if we can gracefully glide our way into a resting pose. So if you've landed in that, you're in a place that feels nice, stay there, keep it still. If there's any adjusting to do for comfort, of course, do that. whatever degree is needed to then drop into your stillness. The quieter you become, the more you can hear yourself. Really drop into that quiet space with yourself. Take a last moment in quiet, in silence. Without trying to change anything at all. Your breath is smooth and natural. Knowing that you are right where you need to be. Embracing the gift of stillness with you and yourself at a deep soulful level. Really begin to take your time, make your way into some small movements. Perhaps rolling onto one side. And if Shavasana is where you need to stay, please feel free to stay there. Otherwise, coming up to your seat to join me to close. As you find your seat, bring your hands to your heart and close down the eyes. Take some smooth breaths here, up to the chest, to the hands, and down and out, releasing the belly, down into that connection of your seat once more. And we'll repeat just silently a little mantra. Twam eva metta. Just repeat that to yourselves. Twam eva metta. And its translation is the universe is our mother. You can think of allowing yourself to be held in that trust, in the care that the universe has for us, just like a mother would for her child. Twam eva metta. Knowing that every time we connect with one another, even in this virtual way, and connect to ourselves, coming to our mat or our other ritual practices, we get closer and closer to that natural state. Let's close with one sound of Om. So we just close with vibration together collectively. Sit up nice and tall. Deep inhale for one Om. And bow your head to yourself and to one another, and to our collective best efforts. Thank you for joining me. Namaste. I hope this practice and all of your own rituals serve you well. And have a wonderful rest of your day. Cheers.